Hello everyone, welcome back to This Old Cook. If you've been here before, great. If it's your first time, then just welcome. Today, what I'm going to do is a really easy recipe of slow roast pork belly, but it's going to be done my way. It's a 4-hour cook, but there's not too much to do. So let's get on with it. In front of me here, you can see I've got some sliced onions. I've sliced up an apple. You don't need to peel it. I've got a shallow roasting dish with lined with foil. I've got a lovely bit of pork. I bought a whole pork belly from the butcher. I've taken it off the bone, so there's no bones. The butcher will do that for you if you like, but if you're not worried about bones, then just leave it. I'm just going to give my hands a quick wash. I'll try this time not to kick the tripod. Anyway, so okay, in this little shallow dish, the idea is we're not going to wrap the whole thing in foil. We're going to try and cover the meat and the onions and the apples, but leave the crackling part, the skin part, exposed, and then you'll get the idea. So let's crack on. Just going to put a little bit of oil in the bottom there. So I'm going to go onion, obvious, apple, onion, apple, onion, apple, onion. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Apple, onion, apple, onion, apple. Come here. Onion. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, that's all right. Let's do onion and just stick an extra apple there. I've got a little bit of onion there. Looks like a small hat. You can put that in if you end up with one of those. Right. So what I'm going to do now is in the bottom of here, I'm just going to put in just a little drop of water, because what we want is we want the bottom of the meat to not we don't want it to dry out. We want it to be really nice and moist, and this is how I do it here. So just let me get a little drop of water. And I'm just going to put a little drop of water in the bottom here. Just a little bit. I don't know if you can really see that, but it's not covering the onions or anything like that. It's just a little bit that helps keep the onions and the apple are going to kind of poach in the pork fat that comes out. What we're going to do, we're going to put it in the oven at starting temperature. So preheat the oven to 140 degrees centigrade. That's all you need to start with. We're going to do that for an hour, and then we're going to turn it up a bit at a time as we go on. But I'll show you that when we come back to it. So that goes on like that. See that? Let's get rid of that over there. So what we're going to try and do, as I said, we want to cover the meat like so. Just squeeze the corners in like this. Hope you can see this all right, can you? Yeah, I think so. Squeeze the corners in. You're getting the idea. You get the idea. Cover the meat. Squeeze the corners in. In the first half an hour, this is going to shrink, so we'll need to kind of keep adjusting that, and we'll keep our eye on the level of the water that's in the bottom. Some will evaporate, but we can just top it up with a little bit more. So that's now ready to go in the oven. You know, I haven't put any salt on it yet because I want it in the oven for about an hour, so the skin will dry out. If you put salt on the crackling straight away, it'll make it sweat, and it'll go all sweaty and moist and damp and horrible. So if you let it dry out a bit and then put some salt on, once it's got a bit of a crust, these cuts that I've made here, they'll open a little bit, and then we can get some of the salt in there. If you the best way to score crackling is to use a Stanley knife. I have a Stanley knife that I use just for this. Wait a sec. Yeah, so I have a Stanley knife in the kitchen drawer, and I only use it for this kind of thing. It doesn't get used for anything else. And it's the best thing and the easiest thing with a nice sharp Stanley to score the skin. So I'm going to bob this in the oven now, and I'll come back to it in about half an hour. I'll take it out and I'll show you what it looks like, and how if we need to tighten the foil up. So I'll come back to it then. Right, so this is only after half an hour. I'm just going to peel. I hope you can see. You can see what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm just going to bring the foil back a bit. There's still a little bit of water in there. There's plenty. So you can see the idea. It will shrink back from the foil a little bit. So I'll put it back in. You probably don't need to check it before an hour really, but I just wanted to show you what was kind of going on. We've still got the skin exposed, not much of the meat. Can't find my oven gloves. Yeah, there you are. All right, now we need to cover that up a bit there, you see, so we can keep the meat lovely and sort of tender and have the skin sort of crispy. So I'm going to put that back in for half an hour, and then I'll take it out, show you again, and we'll put some salt on the crackling. You see how, let me pick it up. Hopefully you can see. You see how the where I've sliced it, that the skin is opening. So when we put salt in, I'll go right in there, and it'll then help to make it nice and crispy. So I'll pop it back in. It's still on 140 degrees Celsius for the second half an hour. Right, so it's been an hour now. I'm going to get it out of the oven, and then we're going to put a little drop of salt on it. I'm about to turn the oven up to 150 degrees Celsius for the next hour. Okay, so there we are. Just have another little check. Yep, there's still a drop of water left in there. There will be moisture coming out of the onions and apples and so on. I've got to say, it just smells bloody. It just smells so good. Just tighten that foil up a little bit. Make sure it's all covered. Just turn it around and see the other side. Yep. Okay, so the meat, as it gets a bit hotter, it starts to tighten up. It sort of shrinks and tightens up and comes up a little bit. So we just want to make sure we keep that covered. So I'm just going to stick some salt on it now, and it'll go all in these nice cracks here, and then it'll help to get underneath and start getting that skin just where we want it, really. Who doesn't love a bit of crackling? Okay, back in the oven now, and we don't need to look at it now for another hour. That's it. I'll come back in an hour, and you'll see what it's like then. So we're into the third hour now. So I'm going to get this out of the oven. I'm going to turn the oven temperature up to 200 degrees Celsius. Let's check this out. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. That's like, yeah, there's still some, yeah, that's getting on nice. So I've moved the foil away from the onions and apples. How good does that look? I've got to tell you, it's coming along. So there's 1 hour to go. After that, it can sit and rest. So this is going back in the oven, 200 degrees. I use my finger, it's much easier. 200 degrees for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to put the heat up on it and it's going to look good. Good pointing. So with half an hour left to go, let's get this out of the oven and then I'll show you what happens next. Check that out. Like, check it out, man. Starting to crisp up nicely. The onions and apples cooking down lovely. The liquid is disappearing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the oven up to, you know, everything in this house beeps. The washing machine beeps, the microwave beeps, the coffee machine beeps, everything beeps. Drives me insane. Anyway, so nice bit of onion. It smells lovely. I'm going to turn the oven up to 220 degrees centigrade, and I'm going to put the grill on for the last half an hour. So I'll stick it back in the oven and I'll come back to you then. So I'm going to get this out of the oven now and let you have a look. Look at that. What does that look like? That, well, it looks like pork belly. Is it crispy? Seems to be. So this can now sit for, like, the rule of thumb is when you cook meat, you rest it for half the cooking time, which is actually a bit bullshit because it depends what you're cooking and how long you cook it for. So if you cooked a bit of brisket for, say, 12 hours and you rest it for 6, it might not be that good. But anyway, so lovely bit of sauce there. The apples are lovely and cooked. The skin is really crispy. So this can sit here for the next 30-40 minutes, no problem. And I'm going to serve this with a bit of a classic of baby leaf spinach and garlic with some sauté crushed potatoes. It works really well. You don't need any gravy or out like that, but if you want to do it with something else, then that's also fine. So let's crack on. All right, so just check this out while I cut this. Scissors. Do you think that's crispy? I think it's all right. Mm. So I've cut that. Now, do you think it's is the meat tough, or do you think it's like really lovely and soft? Look at all these glorious onions and garlic. Oh, no resistance at all. You could eat that like off a spoon. That can still sit there until I'm ready to dish up. And I'm going to serve this with some uh, baby leaf spinach and garlic. Spinach and garlic just works so good. And you don't need anything weird. You don't need no great gravy. If you don't want to do the spinach thing, then by all means do that, and you could use stuffing and all that kind of malarkey. Uh, and I'm going to do some sauteed potatoes. Ah, so good. Okay, so we're going to plate up now. Uh, I like it with spinach cooked with garlic. Spinach and garlic, like perfect. I've got some sauteed potatoes. There's all this lovely onion, apple, and so on. So let's get it dished up, dude. All right, let's go. Some beautiful slow roast pork belly. Check that out. Oh, that's so soft, that meat. We have here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but onions, garlic, more onions, apple, more. So, okay, we have some fabulous crispy. Is it soft? Ugh, no resistance there. Yeah, no resistance. Here we have some spinach sauteed with garlic and some sauteed crushed potatoes. You don't need any gravy with this stuff. Right. Dude. Hope you like spinach. Personally, really love spinach. Now, sauteed potatoes. These are uh, standard white potatoes. Don't use Maris Pipers. They're a bit too fluffy and they'll just be like mush. Look at that. Oh, Ted. I didn't do that. Ugh. So just remember, this is kind of a normal kitchen. There's nothing posh about it and all the rest of it. It is what it is. And it's just like, it's a bit sublime. This tastes like superb. So next time I'm going to be making toad in the hole and show you how I make my wonderful Yorkshire puddings. So I hope you like that and you enjoyed it. If you did, then press the like button and click subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. And while I think about it, I kept saying garlic in the onions that were under the pork. I kept saying onions and garlic, but there wasn't any garlic in that. The garlic was in the spinach. So sorry about that. I promise I'll try and get better at this. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one.